Hello, and thank you everybody for joining this week's edition of Ask Ron. I have Ron here this week ready to answer your questions. My name is Jessie, and the first question today is from Tony Bamore from Massachusetts. With Ron's land trust warranty deed to trust, thank God I read it. It gives total power to the trustee. So what if I want to make a nominee trustee, like a lawyer, the trustee, and not an LLC? Is there another land trustee warranty deed to trust I can use so that the trustee must get written, notarized permission from the grantor and beneficiary? Also, have a successor trustee, since the successor trustee would be me.
Stop.
Doesn't have to be recorded.
Let's answer that one first. All right. You are confused. First of all, you better make sure that an LLC can be the trustee in your state. I just don't know. If that's not the case, you just have to get a human being, and preferably without your last name on public record, because it will go on public record as trustee right on the deed. Again, nowhere does a beneficial interest show on the deed. So, as far as successor trustees go, you're overthinking it. You got a trustee. Okay, all they do is sign the deed when you sell. There's nothing else for them to do. If they die or you want to fire them, then there's one form on the Gold Club site under the land trust documents that simply says that I forgot what it said. Anyway, you're replacing the trustee. That's all it needs. You do not have to do anything down at the courthouse. When you do sell, though, they're going to want to see that document where one trustee was replaced with another. You are confusing this with estate planning, where you have all these trustees, one dies, the other here. You don't need to do all that crap. You're way overthinking it and way complicating it. So let's get to the second question.
All right.
Oh, recorded? The only thing that's recorded is the deed itself. You don't have to record anything when you transfer trustees.
Gotcha. Thank you, Ron. Next part of his question, he said he was wondering if you've ever heard of Sheriff Midwar, who does asset protection. Bob Bloom did a YouTube video with him, and even a judge saw his systems. No one can break the veil. He has a Wyoming LLC with a special operating agreement. He doesn't put the property in the LLC, but I would own it, and it puts a lien on the total value of the property as an IOU and makes one payment a year.
All right, stop. Okay. Number one, let's start with the top, I guess. No, I don't know. I don't know Sharif at all. Never heard of him, actually. If he did a YouTube video with Bob Bloom, then I don't have anything to say against that, because, you know, I trust Bob Bloom heavily. He has a Wyoming LLC with a special operating agreement. Well, I don't know what special means. He doesn't put the property in the LLC, as he shouldn't. He should put it in a land trust and put the land trust in the LLC. But I would own it. No, you wouldn't. You control the whole deal. You own the LLC. Even then, you better have another owner in there. Never a solo owner. As far as the judge goes, you can take that with a grain of salt. I've been in litigation a lot of my life, and trust me, it's all up to the judge, and it don't take but one little thing to overturn everything you think can't be overturned. There is no such thing as a estate plan that can't be overturned, because they only needed one thing. I can attest that just happened to me not too long ago. I'm not going to do it today, though. So you put the property in an LLC. The LLC is on public record as the owner of the property. I don't care where it's at, Wyoming or any place else. Something happens on that property, like kids die in a fire or something, the LLC is going to get sued, for sure. Now, suppose you got 20 houses in that LLC. Okay, what just happened to one happens to all of them. They're all at risk. Do not put the LLC on title to the property. Land trust takes title. LLC owns land trust. Land trust then is only liable for that one house, and it doesn't affect all the rest of them. In other words, one egg in one basket. Don't ever forget that. And I promise you, Bob Bloom will tell you the same thing. And he approved my whole 4 LLCs plan, which incidentally is also on your Gold Club site. It's called 4 LLCs. Go take a look at it. It'll change the way you think about asset protection, estate planning, and tax reduction as well as entities. And you make one payment, on this note. So say we're told you to put a note on your property. All right, so let's talk about that. What he means is you want to put a note on there made back to one of your entities to, in other words, finance the property to the max. Now listen, if you think that a predator coming against you won't go through that like grease through a goose, you're mistaken. If they find out you own the entity that owns the notes, any judge is going to overturn that. I used to teach that as well, but I'm telling you, that's not near as powerful as you think, because you just probably have never been through litigation. These guys, they know what they're doing, and they're going to pick. And when they find that out, you're all of a sudden in a total different position. You can probably make that work if the entity that owns the lien don't have any ownership of you should not have any ownership of the entity that owns the liens. But I wouldn't even advise you to do that, because if the judge finds out that that's what you did, man, he's got you convicted before you even get through with the hearing, because you're doing that in an effort to defraud the lender. All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, thank you, Ron. Brad Keating from Texas has another question about land trust.
Thought we had another one there.
Yep, Brad Keating.
At the end of his. No, at the end of his. Scroll it back down, John. Hold it. I'm actually looking at a screen today, reading the questions. I've never done that before. All right, I guess I covered all of that. The trustee does nothing but sign, and the beneficiarial interest can fire the trustee at will. Yeah, covered that.
All right, thank you, Ron.
All right.
Brad Keating from Texas.
Hey, Brad.
I get that an LLC is the trustee of the land, but who is the beneficiary of the land trust?
That would be you, or preferably you and your wife. Texas, I don't know. I don't think they do tenants by the entirety. So if that's not the case, then I'd advise you to get Bob Bloom or someone to form a limited partnership. And of course, your wife's in that partnership, and the partnership will take the place of the tenants by the entirety that I constantly teach, because they can't, by law, pierce the partnership to take the assets out of it. The worst thing they can do is put a charging order against it, which means they can get at the income that's distributed by the general partner, which is one of your entities. So then you're not going to distribute any income. So they will get no money, but they will be responsible for paying their share of the income taxes on that. They're not going to put a charging order on your LLCs. So the LLC will be the trustee, but you will be the you'll be the owner of the LLC. Sorry. Now, in addition to that, if the trust is the owner, the trust is the only one that they can get. That's just that one trust, one house, one egg, one basket. Again, go back and review the 4 LLCs lesson. It's on the Gold Club, and I think you just go in the box at the top and type in 4 LLCs, and it'll pop up. It's about an hour, some odd minutes long. I'm telling you, it's a game changer when it comes to asset protection.
Yeah, Ron's right. I'll go ahead and link that below so you guys can see that. And it also answered the rest of his question, which was, can it be the same LLC that is a trustee, or should it be me personally?
No, you definitely never want to be a trustee personally, because you're the beneficiary, and therefore you don't have a trust. It's got to be a different entity than you, or a different person than you, or it's not a trust. I'll go through that one quickly. All right.
Next up, we have Genois Sheffield from Texas.
Boy, we're heavy on Texas today, aren't we?
We are. Lots of Texans around here. His question is, I have purchased all of your books. Which one should I read first?
You should read How to Be a Real Estate Entrepreneur in Any Economy. That one right there. And bring it to class when I see you, and I'll endorse it for you. How to be that's the one. How to be a quick turn real estate millionaire in any economy. All right.
All right. Last question for this week's segment of Ask Ron. Justin from Ohio. Ron, what is the fastest way to make money in real estate?
Wholesaling. Think about the steps. One, you do some marketing to find the sellers, which we do on Dreams nowadays. And we now have added cold calling to the mix. And that's going to change everything we do. Because think about this. You generate leads, you skip trace them to the cold calling folks, and they get you the PI sheet filled out and get it back to you. You just make one phone call to the seller, and you're either going to get a deal or you're not going to get a deal. And but when you get the PI sheet, it'll tell you right there what they're asking, and you can look up the R of on Dreams, and you'll know whether it's a killer deal or not. This business is getting so good, so hands off. I mean, I'm just jealous that we got all this technology today that I didn't have when I was coming up. I had to actually do work, do deals when I was coming up. So wholesaling, because you get a contract on the house for X price cash, and you simply assign the contract, raising the value and assign it. You never take title to the property, and there's no closing costs, and a deposit with a seller is $10. So anybody can wholesale houses. Doesn't take much experience, which is why I think most of the people getting into the business, that's where they want to start, and that's okay with me. That's how I started. Got $3,000 on my first check, and I just kept going and going and going while everybody else went home, went back to their daily routine. All right?
All right, that's all the questions we have.
Terms do.
We do social media marketing too to get you leads. That's the fastest way.
Yeah, okay. Jennifer just reminded me. Our new VAs that do the cold calling, they also do media marketing for you. In other words, you don't have to do anything. Just pay whatever plan you want and sit back and wait for the leads to come in. And they're getting more actually off of the media than they are off of the cold calling. So put them both together, and frankly, that's probably all you ever need to do to find deals right there. And then you ramp it up as see fit. But I'll warn you, like I warn everybody else, you don't want to spend a lot of money on generating leads until you master the closing call so you don't waste them. And don't forget that. And if you haven't been to my boot camp yet, you better get there, because I've changed a lot of stuff in it. We got a lot of new stuff right now that I didn't have just a month ago. And I've got a special deal working on that Quick Start School right now. I mean, a really special deal. So call in 800-567-6128 and get the skinny on that, because it's in fact, I got one coming up on the 22nd here in Jacksonville, and I got about 5 seats left. So what a great time to get you going. I promise you, when you get out of that thing, you're going to have a whole different view of real estate, and you're going to see the power and the money that's in this business. And I've never seen a business like this. You get great big old checks for very, very, very small overhead. That's like no business I've ever seen. Sure ain't true for the restaurant business. And how do I know that, Jesse?
That is a good ask me how I know.
Yeah, because she used to run one of my restaurants. That's how she knows.
That's right, I sure did.
Used to. Okay.
That's right.
All right. I did answer that question, didn't I?
You sure did.
All
Thank
right.
you, Ron.
You have any more?
That's all the questions we have for this week.
All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Get out there and get something going. Call in and check about our Dreams plan as well. DreamsPro.ai.com, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Look, it'll tell you what it's all the goodies that are in it, and they're adding goodies in it every single day. And we are doing, in fact, we're probably going to do a webinar on that pretty soon, aren't we, Jennifer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're going to roll out all the new
They can't hear you.
the AI features.
Okay. Anyway, webinar's coming up. Keep an eye on our emails. And by the way, when I send you an email, open the dumb thing. You won't know whether it's a great deal or, yeah, we get a lot of emails from us, but, some of them are worth reading. Okay. Just kidding. They're all worth reading. Okay. So get out there and get to work. And don't forget, it's federal law that you have to send me a testimonial letter when your next check. In fact, we got 2 of them yesterday and the day before, and day before yesterday. So we love getting them. They're all over our walls down here. So get down here to a boot camp. I'm doing them mostly in Jacksonville. You'll see people all over the country have sent testimonials and still get them every single week. So come join us. If you haven't been to Quick Start School yet, that is your real start right there. That's where I train you heavily on every step that you need within a 4-day period. And you get to come back free. So if you've been once, you're within your year, just register and you come back for free. If you're past a year, it's only $500 to return. You owe it to yourself and your family to get there. Believe me, I know what's taught there. See you next week.